play. Gastao, 24 years of age, 134 in the world, the live ranking at 138, defending finals points this week. A win over Sanam Singh yesterday, 6-4, and was battling some sort of stomach virus throughout. Just looked really, well, frankly, bad at stretches. I guess maybe the more PC way to say it is just off of his game. Chung will scuff out the mark. Elias doesn't ask for it, so no need taking a look. And yeah, Elias is at 138, gets back to 135 with a win today and into our semifinals. Backhand error and a break chance quickly for HYEON CHUNG. Great ball. It's one we didn't see a lot of from Elias yesterday. Lives down in the Bradenton area now, not too far from Sarasota. Break point number 2. Nice step back and make a decision from Chung. He gets the opening break. Chung at 18 years of age has his ranking at a career high, 107 in the world. Live ranking has Chung at 100. A win today gets him to 98. Could move all the way up to 88 if he wins this event. It's certainly in the realm of possibility. Already 2 challenger titles to his credit. Bangkok last fall, Bernie earlier this year. Lost in the finals in Launceston the week after Bernie to Bjorn Fratangelo, who hopefully will be joining us soon. Just returned long there from Elias. Chung from Suwon, South Korea. Has 2 coaches traveling with him, possibly just 1 physio. Didn't get to interact with them yet this week. And in fact, this is his first time on a center court in the last 2 weeks on the singles side. Doubles finalist a week ago in Sarasota with Divish Sharan. Break chance now for Gastao Elias. Double fault makes it 2 straight breaks. Interesting contrast with our first quarterfinal, where Tangelo Donaldson came out firing. This one, maybe a little bit coming out misfiring. Odd miss hit there from Chung. Immediately just apologizes, but at this point, he'll take it. Again, the wind, I think, a factor there. Just caught up and took a bounce essentially straight up. And you can see the non-up call for Elias. Great ball on the run, but Elias handles it calmly into the open court. 4-15 all. Elias, some challenger titles as well. He has 2 with 10 finals. Imagine if he's 5-5 in his finals as opposed to 2 and 8. What kind of difference that would have made in his career. Gotten as high as 103. Does he maybe get to 90, have some different opportunities, and make a stronger go of it inside the top 100? No use for what ifs in this game, however. Close. Tony Nimmons looks like he will be called out of the chair for the first time. Elias is not sure which one of those 2 marks it is. There are 2 pretty close, about 6 inches apart. So Tony will make the decision which mark that it is. Says it's that one. He says it's good. Elias disagrees. think Elias, his claim is that the ball had too much arc on it, and the mark itself he felt was a little bit more flat. That's his claim, at least. More break chances, already 3 on the day. This is number 4 in just 3 games. That sailed on Elias, tried to back out of the way soon, according to a text I just received by Bjorn Fratangelo. 3-set winner over Jared Donaldson just a little while ago. Into the semifinals, leader now in the USTA Hard-True Wildcard Challenge. But I know he's going through his cool down. It was a physical match between those two. Especially that first set, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Chung looking for his first semifinal since Guangzhou back in March. This will be, I believe, his 4th of the year. That's well done. That's just fantastically done by Gastao Elias. The defensive work there, when Chung just kept going towards that backhand side, gave Elias just chance after chance after chance, eventually getting to the net himself and finishing it off. Nice to see down 30 love. Frankly, you don't see that too often. Elias had stopped playing the point. He's taking a look at this mark.
Unfortunately, you stepped right through it. Listen, you stepped right through it. I'll get down. What do you mean I stepped on it? What you did was you stepped through it right here. What do you mean? That's what I'm saying. And here's the mark. Oh, okay, so that's the mark. 2 things here. It's still going to be good because if you look at it, this is touching right here. No. Yeah. Wait. We're not changing it. No, wait. You're telling me these marks are touching the light. That's it. That's what I'm telling you. Yep. You did a mistake. You don't want to hit it. This ball is really out. What do you mean touching the light? I First said. Of all, you said I stepped on the mark. Right. You're wrong. Okay. So if I'm wrong on that point, that's good. That's the mark I have. It's good.
definitive there from Tony Nimmons, our chair. I think you could pick that up at home. Said.
That's right, it's good. Is that going to help you go back and play? All right, I saw the ball good. Admit it. I just did. Yeah, can we go play? There's no way you're telling me this ball is touching the line. There's at least a finger there. A finger can fit here. How can you tell me this ball is touching the line?
Tony Nimmons is done with this conversation with Gastao Elias.
The ball is good.
I don't know if that's an American thing or something, but we have to admit it sometimes.
40-15.
Admit it, you're wrong. No problem. If I hit a mistake, I'll say it. I'll hit a mistake. I missed the ball. No problem. You can do the same. Don't tell me the ball is in.
Okay, so we've discussed this enough.
It's not enough because I'm losing the point here. Obviously, it's not enough.
Good comedy from Elias. He said we've not discussed it enough, obviously, since I've lost the point. So we finally get our first hold of the day, 3-1 for Chung. Yeah, it's impossible for me to see up in the bird's nest. I'm about 20 feet behind Tony Nimmons and about 10 feet up from him as well. That's as difficult of an angle. I can't really tell. Nimmons saying A, he stepped on the mark, B, did not expect that backhand back down the line. That was uh-oh.
What did I say?
We're not going to go through this.
No, we're going to go through this.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
We're not going to go through
I
this.
didn't say bad words.
Yes, you did.
What did I say?
You took the risk. You said a bad word. I coded you for it. You have to go back and play.
You know Spanish?
Oh, we're not going to do this, Gastao. You have to play. You have a code. Hey, listen, just stop it.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you let him know? Can you let him know?
Again, don't know how much.
Let me play tennis, I'll play tennis.
I told you, when we talked about this last, I told you, you take the risk by even trying to do that.
How is that a risk if it's not a bad word?
If you say it, that's what you're going to get. You know what you said.
I know, that's why I'm asking.
I know.
So again, I don't know how much you could make out at home, essentially asking the crowd for a translation of the word that he yelled out. Somebody in the crowd saying essentially it wasn't a bad word, but you know, Tony Nimmons up in the chair has to make that distinction that it's a risk. Elias has been a guy who has been involved in quite a few confrontations with chairs over the years. Gets 2 straight free points there to 30 all. But there's certainly a tone that has been set in this match. And I will admit I do not speak Spanish myself. I have no clue what he said. Oh, that's just so good. That's just so good to find that kind of an angle.
If he beats me like this, it's fine. It's perfect. I won't complain if he beats me like this. Not stealing points, bro.
If you could make that out, he won't complain if he beats me like this, but he's not about to give away free points. No. If Elias loses this game, how ugly could it get down the stretch in the first? Two lines from Chung. Just going for a little bit more than Elias through the early stages of this match. Already his 6th break point. Return a winner for Chung to 4-1 in what is turning out to be a heated matchup here in Savannah. A point penalty now as that discussion continued throughout the entire changeover. And you missed the whole thing, but let's try to focus on what's more enjoyable for you. A good win for you today. It felt like going late in that second after you got the break, that hold to take the second set, and then also early in the third, you just wanted to make a statement, not just maybe in that match, but just about who you are as a player.
Yeah, well, definitely. I think that that's maybe something subconsciously that I was trying to do, but you know, I haven't played much with Jared. We've practiced a couple times. It was our first meeting on the court, so I don't think a lot of us, or I don't think either of us knew, you know, what to employ out there. And you know, I think late in the first I figured it out, and even though he took the first set, you know, credit to him that he squeaked that out. I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew if I, you know, executed it well, then I was going to come out on top.
Talk about what you were trying to do.
Yeah, you know, I haven't seen too much of him, and I think movement on the clay isn't his strongest suit, but he moves well if you just kind of keep him on the run. And he's long, you know, he can slap forehands and backhands. He's got, you know, he's good off both wings. But he wasn't particularly great at, you know, running behind himself, and I was able to kind of make him very uncomfortable. I started to put balls back in the same positions of the court when I noticed that he was just kind of keeping himself running to the open court, and I knew if I could keep doing that, I'm able to put guys in awkward positions. You know, I like to point construct very carefully, and I was able to do that.
It felt like, you know, I mentioned it at some point during the second set, it was just a difference in styles you have. You're a little bit more patient. He obviously, you know, wants to end points a little bit faster than you do, and it felt like it was just a kind of balancing of who was going to be able to do that, do what they wanted to do a little bit more early, and then you found ways to just outlast him.
Yeah, you know, I like to extend points, not too long, but but long enough to where they can go in my favor, obviously. But yeah, I just tried to make him uncomfortable as possible. The clay got a little dry, got a little slippery. His movement, you know, wasn't the strongest out of the corners, but like I said, he was fine if I moved him out and he had to run the other side. But you know, I tried to protect one side of the court and then move him again and try to be very unpredictable, you know, and I think it worked.
You know, we talked a little bit about this whole Hard-True Wildcard Challenge and how you try to keep it out of your mind.
Yes.
But you are now obviously in the lead for at least right now until this TFO Kruger match later tonight. How much are you thinking about that now when you do have a little bit of time and thinking about the semifinals tomorrow?
Oh, come on, Mike. No, it's obviously, it's in my head, but like I told you last time, I'm trying not to focus on it, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job at it. It's just an added bonus of, you know, who plays the most solid out of these 3 weeks, and you know, I definitely want it just like everybody else wants it, but you know, if I can just keep putting points on the board, you know, these 3 weeks, then I did my job. I'm in qualies. That was my goal, and you know, if I get to play in the main, then great. But if not, you know, I'm still happy that I was able to achieve what I wanted to achieve this year.
You haven't been able to watch any of this yet. You walk up just as Elias is getting another code here, and I know you've seen Elias a little bit more than you've seen HYEON CHUNG. How much have you seen of him as he looks like he's pretty comfortably taking this first set?
Well, I played him in the final in Launceston.
Yeah.
So we had a great match there, and I was able to squeak that out. You know, it was another match like today where neither of us knew a lot about each other, but you know, I played very well in that final, and you know, I was happy to win that. In Gastao, I played first round of Indian Wells qualies, so I know both of them fairly well. It's obviously going to be a little bit different playing on clay. I think Gastao prefers it. I think Chung does not, and you know, but he looks fairly comfortable out here so far. Whether Gastao can kind of pull his head back together.
Having played both of these guys and seeing them for the first time on clay, what do you look for in terms of tendencies as they're playing in a match like this?
Well, I definitely look to see how Chung's ball fares off the court. He likes to definitely hit a flatter ball off both wings. He's got very awkward technique. It's something pretty unusual when he can hit some laser beams with it. But on clay, I don't know how that's going to jump off the court. I feel like guys that hit pretty flat, the ball kind of sits on clay. Gastao's a little different. He can pull balls off the court. He's flashy off both sides. He's very talented.
And emotional.
And emotional, but aren't we all? You know, and I feel like Chung is more machine-like. So it's just a matter of, you know, who I face and what I'm going to plan with my coach to kind of employ my game into theirs.
Was it weird at all for you? I've had several of these points already today. I think he was thinking tweener for a second there. Was it awkward at all for you seeing Stan up there with Jared's coaches as well? Did you think about that at all?
No, I mean, look, we're all friends, we're all Americans, and we're all trying to push each other to put American tennis back to where everybody wants it to be. And you know, Stan, he coaches me, but obviously he works for USTA, so he's not really allowed to cheer for me. He has to stay neutral in an American matchup, where Taylor and Jared's, you know, other coaches, you know, they can cheer, but they were respectful as well. So you know, he can. It was fine. You know, we're all trying to help each other out. And I hope, you know, Jared felt the same way.
Well, before we let you go, I'd love to have your take on this Kruger TFO match.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you're going to watch or how much you're going to try to separate yourself, considering it's been a long stretch of tennis for you here. But
yeah.
What do you expect in a match like that? How does Kruger match up with the power of TFO?
Well, having played Francis now, you know, I can see why he gives a lot of guys trouble. But like I said, you know, my biggest regret in that match was not seeing how well I actually fared up with him. But they played in Bakersfield, I know, or Calabasas. Yeah, one of those two, and Francis got him. But Francis is explosive. He one thing he does that's very it makes things very uncomfortable, at least for me. He changes the speed of the ball so well. He kind of has his rally ball speed, and then I know where he'll pull one, you know, really quickly and really fast, and then he'll kind of go back to rally speed, and then he'll slice some. He's got good hands. He's really fast. You know, so I think he's going to make it pretty uncomfortable for Mitch. But as long as Mitch serves well, and I think he can keep his speed through the court, you know, Mitch is always going to be there every point. Francis, we don't know.
Yeah.
So if Mitch can kind of jump on him, I want to say if he can take the first set, but everybody's taking the first set off Francis this week. So, you know, I hope it's a good match. I think for the point standings, I think I want Krugs to win this one.
That's correct.
Obviously, I want Mitch to win either way. He's my good buddy, roommate, and everything else. So, you know, hopefully it's good tennis.
Pre-game meal for tonight.